Have you landed here on our planet? I came to see David Ernest, the asset preservationist. Yeah, man, I wanted to see if he would take a look at my portfolio for me. Well, before you make the trip over there, call him on his toll-free number, 833-596-7233. And I understand those last 4 digits spell out the word safe. That is correct. Funny thing happened the last time I came to Earth. What was that? I went to the Walmart, man. Yes? And I accidentally went in the back door. How did that work out? Well, they stopped me and very gently told me that I needed to go around front and come in. And then what did you do? I said, cool, man. Take me to your greeter. You flew millions of miles just for that. Hey, man, I don't ride them. I just read them.
This is Jonathan with Oswalt's Apparel and Footwear in Prattville. With all that's changed in the last decade, I really thought that radio advertising was dead, but I was wrong. We opened our store during the pandemic, and we wouldn't have been near as successful without advertising on Blue Water. Practically every day, someone comes in for the first time and tells us they heard about Oswalt's on the radio. I highly recommend advertising with Blue Water.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Hey, miss, I don't mean to be telling tales out of school, but there's a fella in there who'll pay you $10 if you sing into his can. I'm not here to make a record, you dumb cracker. They broadcast me out on the radio.
This is the Trump country. We live in the southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Now you conduct yourself in a democracy.
It's all a Fugazi. You know what Fugazi is? What?
Fugazi. It's a fake.
Yeah, Fugazi. It's a wazzy. It's a woozy. It's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Thank God for another beautiful day. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful show or something like that. And Montgomery needs a new mayor. I said that before, because we do. We really need a new mayor. New leadership in general. But apparently last night, 1819 News held a debate. Well, and it wasn't, I went. So, yeah, it's happened. I saw it with my own eyes, unless I dreamed it, unless I hallucinated it. And I have to say, my main takeaway is I've been doing this long enough now where I just feel bad for a lot of them. I do. Why? Well, I mean, they all signed up for it. They all went and had to ask people for money and put their name on billboards or on mailers or do these wooden TV ads or do radio ads or put their voice out there and their vision. And, you know, they have to put themselves out there. And again, they signed up for it. But especially once you get to the level of runoff, you realize, well, one of them is going to be a pathetic loser. And especially as you get to know these people. It's like, I don't want them to like just be heartbroken. There is a personal side to this game that not everybody sees. It affects the candidates. It affects their families, their spouses, their children. And so that's where my mind was. Of course, I'm kind of watching the sport of it. Like, who has a better presentation? Who answered the question with the correct amount of soundbite / authenticity? Who actually has the better ideas? Who's better looking? Who's better dressed? How do they work the room? Are they comfortable in that sort of 30-second conversation? Do they look you in the eye? Like all these little factors that go into it. But there's a part of this that, well, these are people selling themselves as, well, ideas. Now, I have to say, if I'll just be straight up about it, when it came to the AG debate, I thought Catherine Robertson wasn't just the best in that debate going head-to-head against Jay Mitchell. I thought Catherine Robertson was the best of the evening. Woman's a pistol. I mean that in the best way possible. I was impressed with her. Now, again, I ain't going to hate you one way or the other on any of these races. You can support who you want to support. But that was my main takeaway, that she was ready for prime time and just presentation, ideas, could defend herself quite well. And then on the lieutenant governor debate between John Wall and Wes Allen, I think Wall won, but it wasn't like he mopped the floor with Wes. In fact, I thought Wes had a very good night. Thought Wes was confident. There were moments where he seemed a little like caught up in what am I supposed to say here, or I'm talking too fast. I need to go slower and use this particular hand gesture there. And Wall sometimes said unapologetic too much. Yeah, if I still was drinking, I'd probably be taking shots every time he said unapologetic, which, it's good to be unapologetically who you are and unapologetically conservative and unapologetically wanting to advance the conservative agenda and bring down taxes. And yeah, I know. I thought Wall won on the margin. I think he's slightly more comfortable in front of a microphone, in front of a room. But I will say Wes Allen as a guy, solid. And that's my main takeaway from the debate, though there were moments where he spent too much time on, like, what are going to be your top priorities as lieutenant governor if you have that bully pulpit, so to speak. And a big issue he brought up was forestry. And I'm like, well, I'm sure that is a big part of Alabama's economy, but why are you spending 2-3 minutes on it? I don't know. Is that really going to reach the folks? But here's the deal, folks. You don't have to take my characterization or my word for it on all this stuff. You can just go to 1819news.com and you can watch the whole thing if you want. And there are going to be plenty of clips and plenty of back and forth in regards to what people saw last night. I thought Jeff Poore, by the way, did a great job. Hat tip to Jeff Poore. Good questions, straightforward questions. Didn't try to hog the microphone, just got right to it. Got out of the way, let the candidates do most of the talking and speaking. Gave some deference when they were starting to trade barbs on a few issues. I thought Jeff did a great job. And generally, I agree with what Brian Dawson of 1819 News, the founder over there, what he had to say to open up the night. And it's true. Whether it's Catherine Robertson or Jay Mitchell, John Wall or Wes Allen, or Barry Moore or Jared Hudson. And by the way, Barry Moore was not there last night. Now, he was kind of in a no-win position. If he had skipped this reconciliation vote, which the White House is pushing, and it's about immigration funding, and, as a member up there that you were voted in, you're kind of at the behest of whatever the Speaker's office tells you. So you should be up there, especially with thin margins, if you're trying to get this major vote done. But say he had skipped that, he would have been criticized for skipping out of the vote. You're not doing your job. You're campaigning back home. But if you're up there in D.C., you didn't have time to show up for the debate. So what they did with Barry Moore is, because he couldn't be there, there was a short, I believe, about 5-minute video, a lot of effective video. I think Barry is an effective conservative spokesman. But then I will say, Jared Hudson was there last night in the flesh, in person, shook his hand, looked him in the eye. And he gave just a 10-minute speech, stump speech, and he did fantastic. The presentation was spot on. A lot of the things that he touched on, it probably got a lot of head nods from people, not just in the audience. They had a pretty packed Jared Hudson crowd, stuff in the place once he got there. but especially a lot of folks watch it at home. So it's going to be a tough choice. It's going to be an interesting choice. But again, my mind goes back to there's a personal side to this. There's a personal cost to a lot of this. And especially when a runoff, when it gets head-to-head, and you know somebody's going to be a loser. And that's not just a punchline. It's true. After all sorts of money, hopes, and dreams, you upend your lives to do this. Again, made your choice. You knew it was possible that you would lose. You can't complain too much. But sometimes I hate seeing people go through it. And then add to that when the runoffs, because especially when conservatives are so alike, like they really are alike on all these issues. Like, who wants to cut taxes? Yes. Who wants to cut red tape and regulations? Yes. You want to stand up for the rights of the unborn and the most vulnerable in our society? Yeah. Do you like Donald Trump? Oh, you better believe it. I like Trump more than anybody else likes Trump. I like Trump more than Trump likes Trump. Yeah, we agree. What about immigration? Yeah, we agree. There is some slight daylight on matters of war, but for some reason that doesn't always seem to drive the car. And everybody agrees, not just conservatives, everybody agrees the rent is too damn high, the cost of housing's too damn high, the cost of gas is too damn high. It's all too damn high. So if everybody agrees on everything, then how do you make distinctions? How do you say, I mean, because you could base it off of that guy, that gal, they're really good. I want to sleep with them. That's not the proper way to decide your vote. But is there a proper way to decide a vote? You shouldn't even be thinking that way. Get your mind out of the gutter. Seriously, tell that little demon whispering in your ear to go away. But you could decide that way. It wouldn't be the first time somebody picks somebody because they're like hot. Could be you just have known them for a while. Like you're familiar with the person. You've had a long-term relationship with them. I think, honestly, that's one of the better reasons to vote for somebody. Like, you know them. You trust them. On not just I saw their ad and I saw their stump speech or heard them on the radio. But like, no, I've known this guy for years. I think that's a great reason to vote for somebody. But what about those independent-minded folks? They claim to be independent-minded folks, at least. The folks that are always like, well, I don't know. By the way, I love, my favorite independent is the person that's like, I'm independent and I don't know. And on election day, they always vote for Republicans or Democrats, one way or the other. So they are a Republican, they are a Democrat, they just don't want to cop to it. But what about the folks who are truly undecided in this? Undecided and going to show up on June the 16th. Undecided and going to show up a week from today. How do you sway them? Well, as ugly as it is, especially that the vast majority of us are Christians, believe we are brothers and sisters in Christ, sadly, it's going to come down to accusation. It's going to come down to negative campaign ads. It's going to come down to, yes, sometimes it's fair. You question somebody's decision they made in a particular moment. Maybe the way you characterize it isn't fair, but hey, I'm trying to win. Of course, I'm going to play up the downsides of that choice you made. But then there are other attacks, and these are interesting ones, where the question of identity comes up. Where you can at least plant a seed in somebody's mind that so-and-so isn't who he says he is. Does that have to be true? Could you hang your hat on a technicality to make it, well, they weren't completely 100% truthful because, who is? Unless you're a robot and you've been doing this for your whole life since you were in high school, and you're always careful about every single frickin' thing that ever comes out of your mouth and all the different people in your contacts list. And, you're crazy. Crazy people. Some people do exist like that. But most of us, yeah, we make mistakes. So if you could take a little mistake somebody's made and put the spotlight on the mistake, never mind the larger context or the larger question of who a person is, if you could just focus on that one thing, get everybody fixated on it. And even if somebody doesn't completely buy it, at least is in the back of their mind, well, I'm undecided, and now I'm even more undecided about that guy. Still undecided about that guy, but I'm more undecided about the other guy. But that's when these attacks get the ugliest. When it starts to bite at people's identity and who they are, whether you're talking about their faith or you're talking about their career, talking about their service in the military. And if you have a full-on warranted accusation to make, like somebody claims to be a Christian and they're, up in the nanny when the wife's not looking, it's probably a fair accusation. Like that guy, he cheat on his wife, he's going to probably cheat on you. But you better have, the goods on that. Better have your facts straight before you make such an accusation. But that's not what normally is out there. What normally is out there is let's paint a picture in the most uncharitable light. I'm being serious. Think about your life, folks. Think about all the sins you've committed. And heck, not even the sins, which you have repented for or perhaps should. But like just things where you misspoke. Or things that actually happen in life that are complicated and somebody just boils it down and puts it on TV and tells the world that there's no complication here. This person's simply a phony. It's a shame. I base most of, I suppose, my decisions when it comes down to voting on who do I trust in my gut. Well, and who's built a relationship. It really is. I can be a sucker for that. But sometimes it does come down to hard-boiled politics. Like you could like everybody involved, more or less. You could pray for everybody involved, more or less. Thought that was, by the way, a nice touch by Jared Hudson last night. Opened his statement with a prayer, including praying for Barry and everybody serving. So you could like people, you could pray for people. Like on a personal level, you might even be good friends, or you just might not mind them. And so the choice comes down to, what's the political reality here? On the lieutenant governor's race, I think it really is up in the air. I'm going to go John Wall because that's who's Trump picked. And that's kind of just a political reality. It's simple, easy to say. I could be swayed on that in this next week. If people from the West Allen campaign want to try to sway me on that, go ahead. In the primary, I also voted for Catherine Robertson because Catherine's team has reached out. Catherine's team has spent time here. Not her team. Catherine herself has spent time here, and we've gotten to know one another. I also just genuinely like her abilities. That said, I've not heard a peep from Jay Mitchell's folks. And, I'd Sadie Hawkins was, I like to be asked to the dance. But the door is open. Like, you want to be on the show, you just got to ask. And I'm not hard to find at the same spot every day. And I haven't heard from them. So that, for me personally, maybe that's not a good reason for anybody out there listening to go with Catherine or Jay, one way or the other, on the race. But people that take the time to actually get to know you as you get to know them, yeah, that goes a long way. But on the Senate race, Barry Moore's team has reached out. Barry's been on the show a lot of time. I've known Barry for a long time. Not well, we're not like close buddies. But I remember that first campaign. Back when Jack Campbell was here. We started about Jack got going about those trucks being weighed down for Jeff Coleman or something. It's just, by the way, it wasn't any attack that hurt Jeff Coleman. It was those ads they did. Or it was just, your wife talking about it. He was so fun in college. Like you're running for office and your wife is speaking for you? Okay, man. But I remember Barry back then sneaking that out, getting into the runoff, and then succeeding, getting over the top. Barry's been on the show multiple times over the years. I appreciate his record, and especially joining the Freedom Caucus. But to their credit, Jared Hudson's team has reached out, and Jared's been great on the show constantly. He'll be on the show Friday. Looking forward to that conversation so he can make his final pitch to the voters here in the River region. But when I think about this, I think back to the last time I interviewed those two men, Barry Moore and Jared Hudson. Then I asked him a few things. But one thing I was focusing on is I asked Jared Hudson about, because he's saying Barry Moore is a career politician because he's been there, 5-6 years? Okay. But if you grant that, but you're an outsider, man, and there's upsides and downsides to both of these things. There are pros and cons to being on the inside, being there for a few years, and there are pros and cons to having no experience, especially in any sort of legislative experience. And so I was leaning on, yes, being an outsider is a plus to a lot of folks, but it could also be a con. It could be a negative in the sense that you're going to be whoever ends up teaching you and showing you the ropes up there might have a lot of influence over you. Now, maybe you want to be influenced by certain people. Everybody's influenced. By the way, it's not suggest anything wrong. Everybody's influenced by everybody. Everybody has to trust somebody else, especially the people that actually know, not only their way to the bathroom, but how the whole Senate process works. So I asked Jared Hudson, since you're the outsider, who are you going to lean on so you don't end up tricked? So you don't end up had by one of these, lobbyists, or just go down the wrong road with whoever leading you around. And Jared Hudson said straight up that he is going to lean on Senator Katie Britt as the person, because no doubt, if somebody knows the Senate, it's Katie Britt. No argument there. I was like, that's interesting. And then 30 minutes later, I asked Barry Moore, and I sort of gave the game away, but, I told Barry that I like that old dynamic we used to have. Remember we had it for years? Between Richard Shelby and Jeff Sessions? Or Shelby's in the background, wait, did you bring me a check? But also, hang out with Pat Leahy and also on appropriations and all sorts of other powerful committees. And, he became a master operator behind the scenes. So we used to call him 2D Shelby because, he'd do those breakfasts every once in a while, but you didn't ever see the guy very often. And when he'd do a campaign interview, I remember him doing an interview last time he ran, where he knows how to say all the right things in the campaign. But he was more the guy who made the deals. And he's from a different generation, a different time, where especially this is the way not only the Senate, but especially senators from the South, especially senators from Alabama, have just operated for a long, long, long time. So you had Shelby in his corner. And then you had, for a while, Jeff Sessions. And Jeff Sessions was much more the firebrand. Now, Jeff Sessions wasn't obnoxious in the way certain firebrands can be today, post-Trump. I think Jeff Sessions is always a gentleman about it, which you expect from a man of, say, his generation from Alabama. But Jeff Sessions was no slouch on hardcore conservative issues, and in many ways, he was ahead of the game on the immigration issue in particular, and on this whole thing we now call populism. You have to remember Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller, I believe Stephen Miller's still pretty important in the White House, first met with Jeff Sessions. Now, Jeff, to his credit, said, I ain't running for president. No way I'm going to be a president. But through the career, that was a great dynamic. I can't remember how many years it existed, but it existed a lot of my young life, where you had Shelby working the deals and appropriations and all this other stuff. And you had Jeff Sessions fighting the good fight hard for the nice conservative principles. And don't get me wrong, both, when it came time to talk about it, could talk a great game. Shelby could talk a great game. But if you say, look at freedom scores and all these things these think tanks throw out there, Sessions would be much higher scored and Shelby would be much lower because Shelby's, again, brokering a lot of these deals with other side of the aisle and making these more realpolitik, dare I say, Machiavellian decisions about, okay, which way are we going to split the baby here? You know what? I like that dynamic. I think that dynamic worked great for Alabama. I think it worked great for a long time for Alabama. There might be moments where you're like, Jeff, I wish you wouldn't have taken that stand on this thing like on marijuana. It's not reefer madness, but I'm thinking a lot of people appreciated that too. Sometimes you're frustrated with Richard Shelby trying to hold back Elon Musk and SpaceX and these sorts of things. But generally, the dynamic worked out in the benefit of Alabamians. So again, I'm thinking about this United States Senate runoff, and I asked Jared Hudson, who would you lean on? Since you're an outsider and you don't have much experience there in the Beltway, it's like a country within our own country. It's a thing unto itself for certain. Who are you going to lean on? And he said Katie Bright. And then I brought up with Barry Moore, well, we've had Jeff Sessions and Shelby for so long. How do you think you might work with who is soon going to be the senior senator from the state of Alabama? And I believe Barry Moore had said something to the effect of, well, Katie does great in her lane, and she'll have her lane, and I'll have my lane. So people have a choice to make. But that's what's coming down for me there. Number one, that I like the dynamic, that you have the person who can make the deals, who can get the New York Times profile, who can get the Oval Office appearances, and yes, who can get a lot of great things done on a lot of issues on the margin, who is a competent and beyond competent, excellent legislator. Of course, I'm talking about Senator Britt. And yes, she can talk a good game. But I would also like somebody who has been Freedom Caucus since day one, who I believe first elected guy in the country to endorse Trump, who has been more of the conservative firebrand. I think that dynamic is better. Much better. And with Jared Hudson saying I'm going to lean on Senator Britt, and then also I'll just be blunt, when you see the recent attacks on Barry Moore and his identity, I don't put that all on like Katie or anything. She's more a proxy for all sorts of different players. I'm not going to name or even pretend to know. But let's say a whole network of different relationships and folks that have operated for a long time in the state who are very good at what they do, very talented people. There's a dynamic here in this runoff where I, number one, like Barry Moore, I've known Barry Moore for a long time, but I also like Jared Hudson. I think he's a very impressive man on a lot of fronts. But sometimes it boils down to politics. Could be how good looking somebody is, could be particular issues. Could be that guy did you wrong, so you're never going to vote for him. But sometimes it comes down to hard-boiled politics. I'll put it this way. The same interests, the same network of relationships, of well-connected, very talented people that got Senator Britt elected. And she's, of course, the head of that network of relationships. They shouldn't get everything they want in the state of Alabama. Now, the people will decide this. Maybe they're like, you know what? I kind of like the idea that Jared Hudson will be under Katie's wing. Fair enough. If you like that, you like that. Go with it. But I do not think particular forces in this state should get everything they want. Now, they'll get it if you give them the chance because they're just that good. And at the end of the day, it's not like it's going to ruin my life one way or another, or most of our lives one way or the other. But if you care about, I think, certain dynamics and certain tensions, checks and balances that might be good to represent the full identity of this state, we need that Shelby Sessions dynamic. I'd like to see a Senator Britt and a Senator Moore. Because if we're going to let a certain, say, group of folks make Donald Trump fall on his knee and kiss the ring again, well, maybe we'll know who's in charge and just how good they are. But is that the healthiest dynamic for truly representing the people of this state? I don't know. Well, I do. That's why I'm voting for Barry Moore. But, maybe Jared can convince me on Friday not to. Anyway, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, they can help you out with, well, feel like a man again. You're feeling run down, tired, just shot through. Like no confidence. Jobs, work you used to do, now you're second guessing yourself. You're getting sleepy halfway through the day. Ugh. You just don't feel like yourself, and you have no confidence in the bedroom, no libido to speak of, no life force, never in the mood. You're starting to get fat around the middle, losing muscle mass. It's not like you're eating more. In fact, food just doesn't taste good. You're just not a man anymore. Well, Montgomery Men's Health can help you because they have, well, a great staff, urologists and trained providers that will sit down with you, do a free in-person consultation with I think it starts at $99 with blood work. With consultation, they'll sit there and get to know you. And once they get back your results, what's going on with you, maybe you have low testosterone, maybe there are other acute issues like ED or PE. Maybe you just, if you're worried about size, gentlemen. No guys worry about size. They apparently have stuff there that can address that. And again, it's this in-person feel. And of course, they're on the peptide game now. So if you're looking at NAD Plus or Samorelin, both great options. You can get an online subscription, but then do in-person consultations and pick up your product here in town. It's really best of both worlds, so you actually know the quality of what you're getting. So check them out today, because a lot of guys, after they get treatment at Montgomery Men's Health, feel decades younger, and they wish they had shown up sooner. 90-something% of men respond to treatment, and they respond wonderfully. So don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Get by Montgomery Men's Health. Just make an appointment by calling them up direct at 440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. Or you can book online in under 30 seconds at MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com. That's Montgomery Men's Health for every man in every season of life. And be sure to tell them, hey, that Joey guy on the radio sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Congressman Barry Moore has always delivered for Alabama. As a member of the House Freedom Caucus, Barry Moore earned a score of 100 from Heritage Action for protecting our values. He's helped thousands of Alabama families, fought for our veterans as a veteran himself, and secured millions for infrastructure, first responders, and public safety. Barry Moore helped pass Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, delivering tax cuts for hardworking Alabama families, and stood strong to secure our borders. Now, Barry is taking that fight to the United States Senate. Barry Moore will defend our freedoms, defend the Second Amendment, protect our children, stand up for parents, and keep boys out of girls' sports, while continuing to cut taxes and lower prices. Endorsed by President Trump, Barry Moore is a proven conservative Alabama can trust.
I'm Congressman Barry Moore. I've rolled up my sleeves in Congress, and I'll keep fighting for Alabama in the U.S. Senate. I'm Barry Moore, a conservative fighter, and I approve this message.
Approved and paid for by Barry Moore for U.S. Senate.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm Bill. You called about some breakers tripping?
Oh, yes, Bill. My brother-in-law says you can do almost anything.
That's me. Not much I hadn't seen.
Do you really want someone who does almost anything in your electric box? Think about that, because each year thousands of home fires are caused by faulty wiring. That's why you want a professional, like the electricians at Crosby Electric.
Bill, how's it going? Bill, ooh, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, well, I didn't really need my eyebrows anyway.
At Crosby Electric, all technicians undergo rigorous safety training, as well as background checks, drug testing, and continuing education.
Bill, You think maybe I should call a real electrician?
No, these little slip-ups happen. Everybody does it.
Really?
No, not really. When you need professional electric work or you just like someone to assess your home for safety, call the experts at Crosby Electric, 272-2085, or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
I'm Bradley Earl Ekdahl, and I'm asking for your vote June 16th for Circuit Judge Place 5 at Tauga, Chilton, and Elmore counties. I'm a 20-year veteran of the trial courtrooms of Alabama. I've served you as an assistant district attorney, I've served you as the municipal prosecutor for the city of Prattville, and I've continued to serve you as the municipal judge of Millbrook. I've defended the most difficult and serious cases before judge and jury. I've been serving this community for 20 years. Vote Bradley Earl Ekdahl, June 16th.
Paid for by the committee to elect Bradley Earl Ekdahl, 131 Hunts Alley, Prattville, Alabama, 36067.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Oil prices have retreated and Wall Street began the day with gains as markets try to recover some of last week's sell-off. U.S. benchmark crude dropped $1.68 to $89.62 per barrel. That's still higher than before the Iran war. A barrel of U.S. crude was under $70 prior to the conflict. Major airlines have been punished by soaring fuel prices. U.S. Airlines spent more than $6 billion on jet fuel in April, and that's up 78% from a year ago, according to government data. OpenAI has filed preliminary paperwork to potentially become a publicly traded company. OpenAI says it hasn't decided on timing yet, as there are some advantages to remaining private. The move follows Anthropic's June announcement of its own IPO plans. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Truckers, listen up. A $2,500 sign-on bonus only at Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Work for a company that puts God and family first. 855-777-9785. Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. It's a pretty routine forecast with partial sunshine today. Very humid, high temperature in the upper 80s to near 90. And you know, those spotty random pop-up storms here and there, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. That goes for every day this week, right on through Friday and beyond. Lows at night down to about 73. I think we'll be near or above 90 Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. A few comments rolling in. I believe Tom Moore saying amen. Sadly, we'll have to wait until January 2028 for a new one. I think he's talking about a mayor here in Montgomery. Yeah. Montgomery does need a new mayor, Tom. Sherry McCormick saying pragmatic. I think she's talking about my decision-making process, especially between Jared and Barry there for the Senate race. And Spam Jelly says, good afternoon, Mr. Clark. I'm proud of our senator from the great state of Alabama, Katie Britt. Well, I am too, sir. So proud. Anyway, let's go to line one and talk to Robert. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Hey, Joey, man, I love your dissertation. I don't know what to describe that as, but it's wonderful, dude. You put it out good.
Well, thank you.
And my only response is I want to just say from a 30,000-mile view, the Democrats and Republicans, just those two, Republicans are way better than Democrats in the sense that the policies that fall up under them. Okay. So now let's go down to the next level. And we get down to Alabama, and we're looking at our senators.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to do what they're saying they're going to do. And then I wouldn't mind asking the two senators of Alabama how they feel about the SPLC thing going on. Because I'm fully upset in this sense. I've lived in Alabama my whole life. I think all the other states, if they hear the word Alabama, they think we're all racist down here, and that is not.
No, let them think
not
it. Let them
the
think
case.
it. Let them think it, baby. Let them think it.
Right, but what I'm saying is, this is all going to be. They say it's in the Southern District of Alabama or Middle District.
Middle District.
Right, but what I'm saying is once this is concluded, I think there should be a civil lawsuit because Alabama has been discriminated against by all of this crap.
I see what you're coming at. I don't know what aspect of the law you bring that, but I hear where you're coming from. I think it's
right. It makes you think you can't move to Alabama because they're all backwards.
But again, maybe they're doing us a favor. Maybe we don't want a bunch of these folks to move to Alabama.
Well, that's true too, brother. But hey, thank you for letting me on, Joey. I
Appreciate
see
it. Thanks, Robert. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Dillon Rings. And their Dillon Rings, of course, this month, the birthstone, it's Alexandrite. And during World War II, soldiers gifted Alexandrite, often synthetic, to their wives and sweethearts before heading to the front. Its color-changing magic symbolized hope and grief, life and death. Tragically, many never returned. The stone became known as the quote-unquote widow's stone, linked to mourning and bittersweet wartime love in Russia, especially the number of dead in Russia. Legend even claimed it would turn permanently red after the giver's death. A gem born of dualities, joy and sorrow, light and shadow, Alexandrite's poignant legacy endures, rare, beautiful, and deeply human. And folks, if you want to pick up something, especially if you're born here in the month of June, like my brother, like my bro, get by there. Pick something up for yourself. Of course, they have stuff in stock, or they can make something custom for you. And they do beautiful work with custom design. I know from firsthand experience. This thing hanging around my neck, I love it. Thank you, Josh, the jeweler, for that. And, they can do all sorts of other stuff, too, like repair things and do spa treatments on that jewelry you love that you wear all the time and it looks like it's, you wear it all the time, it's a little dirty. What if it could shine and shimmer like it's new again? They can do that for you there at Dillon Rings. And, of course, we'll tell you a little more about them later in the program, but given it's June and you're looking for a June birthstone Alexandrite, and it truly is beautiful stone, a very cool legacy and absolutely stunning, and they can find something to put on your finger, on your ear, around your neck, around your wrist, whatever you're looking for, they can help you out there at Dillon Rings. So check them out today, 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back after this 30-second break. 334-272-9228. I guess nobody wants to talk about who they're voting for in this runoff.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free. E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free.
At E-Bike Oasis, we're more than just Montgomery's best electric bicycle store. E-Bike Oasis offers free 1-hour electric bicycle rentals and a full-service electric bike repair shop. Stop by E-Bike Oasis in Montgomery today for free rentals, repairs, and electric bicycle brands in town.
Live local talk, the River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I just looked on Facebook and somebody tried to invite me to like Fountain City Pride. I don't even know what Fountain City is. I ain't into that funny business. Wonder what they're prideful about, though. Because there's a lot of things to be proud about, right? Like, you know, your child's first communion if you're a Roman Catholic. It's a very proud moment. You know, there are a couple fellas, in fact, one guy in the listening audience who just became a deacon in the Roman Catholic Church. And that's a very proud moment indeed, because that's what, that's a years-long process and quite a commitment. Be proud of that. I saw a video the other day, a dad at a Major League Baseball game, and his son was pitching, and just after, you know, striking out the opening batter, the father, sitting there in the stands, great seats, is moved to tears. Think about all those days. That father was playing catch, showing his son the right way. Just get his wind-up going. Just taking the time to spend with his son, knowing this kid had talent, this kid had promise. And I'm sure there were moments where he thought, well, maybe it's not going to work out. But then to see your young son finally make it, yeah, that's a proud moment. But I don't know what Fountain City Pride's all about. I'm not sure. Sounds like some funny business to me. 334-272-9228. What makes you proud? And it better not be one of your depraved sins. It's 334-272-9228. Because, heck, there are a lot of people proud of those, too. And I can drink with the best of them. Yeah, and that gin blossom on your face shows it. Why are you proud about that? How much you can put down. Unless you're a redhead, which that doesn't even count. I think you redheads can drink people under the table. You need more anesthesia for surgery, all sorts of freaks. Yeah, say that with love. But there's something Robert mentioned about, like, all the bad press Alabama gets. You know, maybe Alabama should be proud that so much of the nation looks down on us. Perhaps we should be. Alan Mendenhall this week put this out. He talked about AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. How she recently declared that New York must, quote-unquote, pull up. Pull up.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Yeah. Must pull up to southern states like Alabama and explain to its citizens what they had, quote-unquote, uncorked. We're going to pull up. You don't understand what you've uncorked. She revived one of the oldest conceits in American public life, the notion that wisdom is concentrated somewhere between Manhattan and Georgetown and must periodically be exported to the provinces, to these backwaters in the deep red South, especially down there in Alabama with their vehement racists. I don't know what voice that was, but it seemed to fit. This attitude is familiar enough. Denouncing Alabama is profitable. Until lately, any local scribbler, no matter how threadbare his talents, could secure applause, maybe even a Pulitzer Prize, from northern committees merely by proclaiming that our state and people were backwards, ignorant, and on the wrong side of history. Such performances were often mistaken for courage when, in fact, they were merely conformity from a safe distance. But history has a way of making fools of reformers, and the amusing fact is that the economics AOC now preaches bear a striking resemblance to the old nostrums of the Deep South. One hears echoes of Georgia's Tom Watson, or Mississippi's James K. Vardaman, or South Carolina's Pitchfork Ben Tillman, and Arkansas's Jeff Davis, no, not the Confederate president. A whole gallery of demagogues who promise salvation through AOC-style political management and wealth redistribution. Meanwhile, the South, AOC proposes to enlighten, has moved in a rather different direction, pursuing growth through markets, investment, educational choice, and a legal order increasingly hostile to racial preferences of every variety. The irony is exquisite. New Yorker arrives to rescue Alabama from ideas that Alabama itself has abandoned. The test of political doctrine is not the fervor with which it is preached, but the results it produces. Here the evidence becomes, well, awkward for AOC and anybody like her. According to census data, domestic migration gains have occurred in red states like Texas, the Carolinas, Tennessee, Florida, and yes, Alabama. While California, Illinois, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and yes, AOC's New York suffer from domestic outmigration. Unleash Prosperity reports that since 2000, incomes in red states have risen roughly 40% faster than incomes in blue states. The income gap between many traditionally blue and red states has narrowed considerably over the last quarter century. And you can look at how dynamic the economies are. It's all in the South. You can even look at things like the improvement in education, especially Mississippi, whooping a lot of the Northeast states. So this school barn from Queens, AOC.
Oh, girl, baby, girl.
Yeah. Girl, baby, girl. You know, she might have her ex account with millions of followers and the solemn conviction that Providence has selected her to rescue the benighted. Well, she can arrive in Montgomery to find the patient is not only recovered, but is running a temperature considerably healthier than her own. The poor, ignorant Alabamian, whom she has sought to rescue, is meanwhile gainfully employed, paying modest rent, and disinclined to immigrate, which is more than can be said for the constituents she leaves behind on the sidewalks of the Bronx. Let's not weep for AOC. She chose her vocation freely, drew the attention she craves, and will no doubt continue to collect admirers among those who have never set foot between the Appalachians and the Mississippi. The civilization which she pronounces salvageable only by her methods has, with characteristic rudeness, declined to be saved, and stubbornly insists, by every available statistical measure, on saving itself. Yeah, and again, I've been saying this for years. The Democrats need to get out of the 1960s. Get out the 60s. As Jack Campbell used to tell me all the time, get off the cross, we need the wood. Like, there's only one cross that is once for all and all time. And as much as you might pull something off great and decades ago, not the same thing. And you keep going back to that well, people are going to be like, not moving the needle, especially when it's AOC. Girl, baby, girl. She is fine. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. I guess you could say we're proud to be Alabamians. We're proud of our changes. We're proud of economic growth. We're proud of all these folks wanting to move here, but not too many. I still don't know what Fountain City's proud of. I'm starting to think this whole pride thing's a little gay. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. 2 Army aviators have been rescued after their Apache helicopter went down near the coast of Oman. The U.S. Central Command says crew members spent about 2 hours in the water before they were rescued safely. Military officials have not said what caused that helicopter to go down. The incident is under investigation. Both political parties keeping an eye on the polls today in the state of Maine. There is a major contest underway to see which Democrat is likely to square off against Susan Collins in the midterm election in November. South Carolina Republicans facing a packed gubernatorial primary with multiple contenders competing for the chance to replace Governor Henry McMaster, and a runoff appearing likely there. Nevada, meanwhile, holding primaries for several key statewide offices. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 210 points. This is SRN News.
Here's something nobody tells you about owning a home. While you were at work, your house was working too. Property values went up. You paid down principal. Your house quietly earned you tens of thousands of dollars, maybe a lot more, and never asked for a thing in return. The average American homeowner has built 6 figures in equity over the last few years. 6 figures! And most have never collected a penny of it. Fellowship Home Loans helps you collect. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian have shown families how to put that equity to work. A HELOC, a cash-out refi. Money for the renovation, the debt consolidation you need, or that project you've been putting off. Everything is done in-house. One roof, one team, all with a servant-led mentality. People who treat you like family. Your home already paid you. Go cash the check. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G or call 800-510-MIKE. 800-510-6453. 800-510-MIKE. Fellowship Home Loans. Mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. For tough, good-looking roofs, it's Tamco Shingles from Alabama Wholesale Lumber. For great folks and great prices, call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas Weather. Well, hi, everybody. It's a pretty routine forecast with partial sunshine today. Very humid, high temperature in the upper 80s to near 90. And you know, those spotty, random pop-up storms here and there, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. That goes for every day this week, right on through Friday and beyond. Lows at night down to about 73. I think we'll be near or above 90 Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. Jackson Hospital is confirming it was recently targeted by a network security incident.
It'll happen someday. She'll forget about you. She'll forget about all your lies for her own slice of truth. I swear I miss you from happy days past. Back when I always thought love would always last. Oh, I hope heaven. Oh, I hope heaven. Oh, I hope heaven finds you. Someday I'll call you. Someday we'll try to reconcile all the days that we let slip by. I'll try to forgive you, but I'll never forget. I learned my lessons from all your regrets. So I hope heaven. Oh, I hope heaven. Oh, I hope heaven finds you. Oh, heaven finds you. Oh, yes I do. Oh, heaven finds you.
I look in the mirror and barely know myself. Lines growing clearer. I think I need some help. I swear. I'm going out my head. Feels like the world is falling. I'm going out my head. Destiny is short enough calling.
Joey Clark.
I look at the wall, but I can't.
Welcome back.
A child of the fall. I need some grand.
So apparently we've got some new astronauts announced for Artemis 3.
To the sky and pray to the great unseen.
And so this was announced earlier today. The NASA administrator who has incredible hearing because of his big ears. He announced who is going to be crewing Artemis 3. It's a historic mission set to launch next year, which will demonstrate critical systems needed for future lunar landings. So let's listen in to this presentation by the NASA administrator and the fine folks putting on the production there at NASA.
Now, alongside the prime crew, we have a backup crew member who will train shoulder to shoulder with them to ensure mission readiness and continuity. Test pilot, Air Force Colonel, and former SpaceX Crew 4 pilot stands ready to join the team if necessary. Artemis 3 backup crew member, Bob Hines.
Bob Hines. So he's not officially in. He's like the understudy. Like, are you playing Hamlet and Hamlet? No, I might if the guy gets sick. Yeah, maybe somebody will get the flu or something. Is this all this is? Like just epic music? Okay, let's get to the other announcement. Come on.
Now, Bob has logged 170 days in space across 2 ISS expeditions and can step into any role needed on this mission. Now, moving on to our mission specialist for Artemis 3, test engineer and Coast Guard Reserve Commander, making his first space flight, mission specialist Andre Douglas.
Andre Douglas. Looks like a cool cat.
Army Black Hawk helicopter pilot, family medicine physician, and record-setting astronaut, mission specialist, Colonel Frank Rubio.
Oh, what's up, Frank? All right, this is too much. It's like too much WWE going on here. Like, I love what y'all are doing, but just get to the point already. So this mission, Artemis 3, it'll be a key 2-week flight that will aim to test out various technologies considered vital to putting astronauts back on the surface of the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. The crew set to launch as soon as late 2027. Includes 3 astronauts, first-time space flyer Andre Douglas, record-setting astronaut Frank Rubio, who we just heard, veteran flyer and test pilot Randy Breshnik, as well as Italian astronaut Luca Parmitano, with the European Space Agency. Artemis 3 is designed to serve as a precursor mission to a moon landing, testing out how the NASA-built Orion spacecraft will dock with a lunar lander. Primary goal of the flight, the space agency said, is to reduce risk heading into an actual lunar touchdown, which NASA hopes will take place as soon as 2028. In order to reach the moon's surface, astronauts will have to complete such a move while in lunar orbit. But for Artemis 3, NASA is aiming to test the maneuver much closer to home, sticking to low Earth orbit, or LEO, the area closest to our home planet in the same region where the International Space Station operates. The Artemis 3 crew will launch from Florida aboard their Orion capsule, the same type of spacecraft that completed April's historic Artemis 2 lunar flyby mission, and hang out in low Earth orbit. At least one lunar lander will then launch separately, and it's not yet clear whether it'll be SpaceX's Starship, Blue Origin's Blue Moon, or one of each. But upon arrival to low Earth orbit, the landers would then rendezvous with Orion, allowing the astronauts to dock with the vehicle and potentially climb on board the lander. NASA has suggested it could carry out the test flight with both Blue Moon and Starship, though it is not clear how soon either vehicle will be ready. The space agency has made a concerted effort in recent months to spur competition between the companies, which have for years held multi-billion-dollar contracts to deliver crew-worthy vehicles, lunar landers, to NASA. Both companies have experienced development setbacks and delays, But during Tuesday's news conference, NASA Chief Jared Isaacman again suggested Artemis 3 could involve docking with both landers, saying Orion will rendezvous and dock with the Blue Origin lander and then again with the SpaceX lander. And it could be good to have those redundancies. But both SpaceX's Starship and Blue Origin's Blue Moon are facing uncertain timelines. Blue Origin, in particular, encountered a major setback last month. When one of the company's New Glenn rockets exploded during a routine ground test. The New Glenn is the rocket that Blue Origin intends to use to vault the Blue Moon lander to space, but it blew up on the pad, destroyed not just the ship, but the entire pad. Eisenman also said NASA plans to carry out a key test called the wet dress rehearsal of its Space Launch System rocket, or SLS, by the end of the year. So, there's a little update on the whole going back to the moon and space stuff with their epic response, like epic music reveal of who the astronauts are. And that's another thing to be proud about. Like, especially if that's like your brother or your friend or your son or daughter and they're going to go to space. Heck, maybe they haven't even been before and it's the first time in space, or maybe they've been before and it's like, wow, they're going to space again? I'm so proud. Anyway, back down to Earth. Because when you look at what's going on Earth, it's a little, war's still going on with Iran. J.D. Vance is calling out Governor Tim Walz for the Somali fraud scandal. Spencer Pratt officially loses election as mail-in ballot drop gives far-left Dems suspicious boost. Yeah, no kidding, suspicious boost. It could be the Bidens won't shut up, so they might actually sink the Dems' midterm hopes. And there's a deeper agenda behind Trump's reflecting pool glow up. But at this point, I want to do something a little different. I mentioned it yesterday. Because sometimes you need to be able to see your own country through the eyes of a foreigner. What are you talking about? And sometimes somebody, you're so used to it that when somebody who is just brand new to it and gets to look at with fresh eyes and fresh commentary what your culture is like, sometimes it makes you go, yeah, we are pretty awesome. In fact, proud. But there's this Japanese account called Nobunaga. And of course, everything's auto-translated on X these days. And Nobunaga is touring the United States, and he's writing these little missives about his experience here in the States. And this one in particular has gone viral. Nobunaga writes, USA, there's a white sauce here that the people pour upon everything with the devotion of a sacred rite. I have become a believer. I notice it slowly, a bowl of it beside the vegetables, a cup of it beside the bread, beside the meat, beside the other sauce. Children dip fruit in it, A grown man beside me poured it on a slice of pizza that already had sauce of its own, closed his eyes, and sighed like a man coming home. I asked its name. They told me with small reference, Ranch. For it is written that every great people anoints its food with one sacred thing, a drop of gold pressed from olives, a paste of beans aged in cedar. This nation has chosen a cool white elixir, and it anoints not one dish but all dishes, holding nothing back. For to leave a single food unblessed would be the deeper impiety. So I anointed everything. The vegetable, yes, but also the rice, the egg, the morning fish. I would not be the one barbarian who left his plate unblessed while a whole nation dipped in joy around me. And here my heart rose, and I declared the thing a calmer man would not. I will pour this holy elixir upon every food beneath the heavens, the noble and the humble, the savory and the sweet, until I find the one dish it cannot improve. And on that day I will know I have reached the very edge of the world, for everything within it has been made better by ranch. The teenager refilling the dip station watched me anoint a bowl of rice. That's a lot of ranch, my guy. It is the correct amount, I told him, for a god. I have not yet found the dish it cannot improve, says Nobunaga. I've stopped looking. So I brought a great vat of it to the next gathering and set it at the center of the table. And the whole room descended upon it with cries of joy, and a woman I had never met looked at me and said, "Okay, you get it." That woman exists. Especially a lot of them in Alabama. That woman exists. I've never felt more accepted. So tell me, America, you call it ranch, a condiment, a thing on the side. I call it the one sauce a whole nation agreed to love together. And I dip with all of you. Gladly. Just want to leave it there. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. But of course, as mentioned earlier, the SPLC is now there was a superseding indictment. They're in more and more hot water. And you've got folks there on the Hill. At Capitol Hill, continuing to investigate the SPLC, bringing them in front of Congress, yelling and screaming at them. And so, let's check out some of what's going on. It's been a second since I played Jim Jordan, of all people. But, given it's right in our own backyard here in Montgomery, it's good to see what Congress is unveiling about the Southern Poverty Law Center, as Trump calls it, Southern Law. So this is Chairman Jim Jordan. Let's see what old Jimmy boy has to say.
Field Source 37, the guy at the Charlottesville rally, helped plan that rally, coordinate transportation there, was paid to attend after the event. Again, after the event where a lady was killed, the Southern Poverty Law Center almost tripled their income. $51 million to $133 million.
Yeah.
After they were coordinating the hate that took place at that crazy rally.
Yeah, we already know, man.
You run a scam, you become the standard, you don't get prosecuted, and you make a ton of money. They got $800 million assets, $700 million in an endowment. Such a deal.
Yeah, we know. A lot of people have known this for years, but at least, they're talking about it. So they have some guest witnesses and stuff at this hearing, and one of them is the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Alveda King. So let's listen in to Alveda and see what she has to say about the SPLC.
My family legacy reflects the very truth that America is strongest when we recognize our common humanity. My grandmother's family came from the West.
Sorry, Dr. Alveda King. I apologize so much. I'm not proud of that moment.
West coast of Africa. My grandfather's family came from Ireland. My mother's family included Cherokee roots. I have spent my entire life living the reality that America is not a collection of competing tribes. America is one people under God. That is why I am troubled by the conduct and messaging of organizations that claim to fight hatred while profiteering from division. Recent allegations reportedly contained in a federal superseding indictment raise serious questions about the Southern Poverty Law Center's activities. Individuals associated with organizations the SPLC itself labeled as extremist or hate groups allegedly received substantial payments over many years. The indictment shares of payments totaling hundreds of thousands and in some cases more than $1 million to sources connected to white supremacist, neo-Nazi, and Ku Klux Klan organizations.
Yep. Yeah, we knew all this, but it bears repeating. Kind of like saying Montgomery needs a new mayor. The SPLC, they're wretched. They've been wretched for years. They're the classic, like, Batman bad guy who's spreading the disease and the cure at the same time, funding both sides of the thing. Now, are the courts going to do anything about this? Will the Middle District actually get on top of this? Well, we'll see. Play out in court. Hopefully they actually have the goods, that this isn't just some, throw it at them and accuse them, and, maybe we'll actually get convictions here. But there are a lot of folks suspecting that this could just be the beginning of something much, much bigger. Just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, that's a headline at the Federalist, saying that this new indictment is probably also just the tip of the iceberg with the SPLC. In April, shortly after the indictment of the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Federalist explained that the indictment was probably just a start and should be regarded as the tip of the iceberg. An active investigation continued, we wrote, and more legal development should be expected. That was correct. A grand jury just returned a more detailed superseding indictment, alleging that the SPLC had been pouring money into the groups it purports to oppose. Since that educated guess turned out to be correct, here's the next one. This new version of the indictment is also probably the tip of the iceberg. That's a big tip. And there are still more developments to come. You're probably going to wait a long time to find out what happens to the SPLC, and there are reasons to expect delay from both sides of the pending criminal case. Start with the prosecution, which will be the easy part. Alleging that the SPLC created fake businesses to open bank accounts and transfer money in the name of those non-existent entities. The new indictment also contains explicit allegations about details like the creation of fake business records. If federal prosecutors have fake payroll records and checks from businesses that didn't really exist, they'll want to know who specifically created those documents. Even more clearly than the first indictment, the superseding indictment suggests the possibility of future charges against individual SPLC employees and informants. William Burns, a professor at Texas A&M University School of Law, who writes about bank regulations and anti-money laundering laws, echoed that point this week in a discussion with the Federalist. My gut tells me that further indictments will be filled as the case progresses based on previous cases the government has brought, as it uncovers more information useful to its case and or address deficiencies. So expect more from federal prosecutors on the SPLC. They have additional work to do. Then look at the defense. Since the Southern Poverty Law Center was first indicted on April 21st, the 9 defense lawyers from 3 law firms that represent the organization have filed 3 separate motions challenging the prosecution, alleging ethical and procedural failures in a series of memoranda and exhibits that now stretch to 449 pages. The defense has attacked everything but the substance of the charges: supposedly dishonest government statements to media, supposedly vindictive prosecution, and now what's alleged to be an improper early release of a superseding indictment that was filed this week. On Thursday, 3 more lawyers asked the court to be recognized to file an amicus brief on behalf of the Society for the Rule of Law. That sounds solid. Which will bring the count to 12 lawyers filing briefs to challenge the prosecution. With that number in mind, consider how long it typically takes to get a normal criminal case alleging multiple felonies to trial in federal courts. You can find court data in data tables that are unpleasant to parse, but a simpler approach is to see what defense lawyers tell their clients. Federal courts typically set trial dates early, with 12 to 18 months of indictment, and they actually stick to them. A complex case with a long list of felonies can easily take a year and a half to get to trial, but it can take longer with procedural delays like extended legal combat over pretrial motions. And we're having a presidential election in 2.5 years, after which we may have a president and attorney general who are Democrats. And this is thus the strategy, folks. Run out the clock and hope somebody can win the White House. Maybe it'll be AOC, and she'll roll up on Alabama or whatever stupid term she used. Pull up on Alabama and start like snapping and stuff and looking fine and not making any sense at the same time. Anyway, if a trial date can be pushed beyond the next inauguration, the SPLC might beat the charges simply by getting a friendlier administration. The SPLC has over $750 million in assets, allowing it the best litigation team money can buy. With money for a giant and aggressive legal team, that might delay work. It might delay the work, and the delay itself may work. But a legal strategy of delay also threatens to extend the political crises for the SPLC. It's a double-edged sword. As a years-long courtroom battle keeps generating headlines about allegations that an anti-hate organization paid for Klan robes and cross-burning materials. Wait, the SPLC paid for Klan robes and cross-burning materials? The boys in the Klan couldn't get that from themselves? You provided that? And, of course, they also kept Klansmen and neo-Nazis on the shadow payroll. So you got to wonder, what are the outcomes? The SPLC says explicitly in its own defense that it has been paying extremist groups for years so it can infiltrate them and break them up. But toward what end? SPLC has no prosecutorial authority. The Klan and Nazi groups seem to be doing just fine. So wait, you bought the Klan robes and cross-burning materials in order to infiltrate them, and I guess it's a way to build trust. Like, how do we gain their trust? Well, let's buy them the wood and all the other needed things to build a cross, and let's buy them the fuel and stuff, and let's buy them the robes, and like we're in on it. So, in fact, like we might just need to become white supremacists for them to, and then we'll bring down the white supremacists by adding to their numbers. An extended legal controversy might serve the SPLC in federal court and damage it in the court of public opinion. Oh, what a shame. How all of that ends is a question that we'll have to wait for an answer, which probably isn't coming soon. The Federalist has repeatedly sent questions to the SPLC's defense lawyers by email, but they've never received a response. That's from Chris Bray at the Federalist. And yeah, that's actually a great breakdown on what's to come. Because you're going to see a lot of congressional committees in this fight in the court of public opinion. But the actual legal case could be, we're talking about this for years. And what a shame it would be if like Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance end up president. And now, like, well, all your hope of delay, no, you got a new Republican attorney general. Now, here is Chip Roy of Texas, I believe, talking to the president of the SPLC, Mr. Fair. Sometimes a name is destiny. Mr. Fair runs the SPLC. It's quite a name in liberal Democrat circles, Mr. Fair. Well, this is Chip Roy taking on Mr. Fair. I believe he's asking him about Islamic groups.
How many extremist Islamic groups do you have of the 1,500 or so organizations you have on your hate map?
Again, anyone can go to our website.
My office has been looking over it and we can't really find one.
Again, it is the SPLC's.
You think
right.
SPLC could provide us a list of the Islamic-oriented groups that you have on your hate map?
Mr. Roy, we don't target any group because of its religion.
Really?
I want to be clear about that.
Really?
Yes, that's exactly right. We target no group because of its religion. We target groups because they express statements and engage in activities that demean and vilify.
So you brought up LGBTQ groups
I'm sorry,
a second
Mr.
ago.
Roy.
So you brought up LGBT groups a minute ago. So you think there's a bunch of Islamic groups that are pro-LGBTQ? Is that the position of the SPLC? I just want to make sure the record is reflecting that.
The parsing. No, and I don't think this is going to get better for the SPLC, especially if their strategy of delay just falls to pieces. So we'll see. We'll see if they're able to pull off their strategy. But, people have known this for years. Now, here's another one. This is Daryl Issa, or Issa? No, I think it's Issa. Daryl Issa, asking the head of the SPLC to apologize to Dr. Alveda King and apologize for calling Charlie Kirk just hateful, awful, dirty, rotten scoundrels. Let's listen in.
Mr. Fair, I don't want you to be left out of this conversation.
Mr. Fair.
Your organization has labeled Dr. King and Charlie Kirk and others. Do you regret that? Will you recant it? Or are you going to double down and say that these people, including the martyred Charlie Kirk, in fact, somehow deserve to be on your hate list for they're constantly talking about bringing people together, talking about the teachings of the Bible and the like?
Congressman Issa, as I said in my statement.
Now, wait a second. No. I heard your statement. I only want an answer to your question in the 11 seconds left. Are you going to recant, yes or no? And if you're not going to, please don't tell me it's because now you're under charges. Your organization did it as much as 16 years ago. Will you take back any part of that, or is your hate list stand as your position of your organization as its head today?
The SPLC will continue to expose hate and extremism.
Okay, we'll take that as the list stands. Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look good for them. And good riddance. Good luck, Mr. Fair. You're going to need it. Anyway, we got to hit another break here. This part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. And they're at Cole Plumbing. They're ready to help you out with any and all of your plumbing needs. Could be you got a big old water leak. Maybe you didn't even notice it. Maybe it was in the backyard. You just haven't been outside in a while. Which is a whole other problem. You should probably go outside every once in a while. And you just notice the water bill is through the roof and you didn't install a pool. Or it could be you just find that very wet carpet or that ceiling starting to droop and a major water leak. Nope. Cole Plumbing can help you out. They understand time is of the essence and they can get in there and solve the problem with minimal discomfort to you in your home. With this proprietary pipelining technology they have where they can find the issue and with precision and expertise fix it up without tearing out a bunch of drywall inside or digging up a huge hole or trench in your yard trying to find it. They can do it quite well with precision and expertise, like I said. And, of course, they can also help you with simpler things like your toilet flapper is broke or the garbage disposal stinks and doesn't work or you flush the toilet and something comes up in the shower drain. Or it could be you got long, luxurious hair like I do, and now the drain's clogged because you're constantly shedding. You know what I'm talking about, especially you ladies. Always shedding. They can help you across the board with all this stuff. Check them out today. Just save their number. It's 334-279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
2026 marks 60 years that hope has had a home in Alabama. At the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches, children who've lost everything through no fault of their own have found something priceless. A safe place to live, a loving Christian family, and the chance to simply be kids again. Here, boys and girls grow up surrounded by care, guidance, and faith, learning right from wrong, learning responsibility, learning they are valued and that their lives have purpose. As the Alabama Sheriffs have believed for 6 decades, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women. These former ranchers are now teachers, parents, business owners, and leaders, living proof that love, structure, and faith can change a life forever. As the Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches celebrate 60 years of serving Alabama's children, you can help ensure the next child has the same chance. Learn how you can make a difference at alabamasheriffsyouthranches.org. 60 years of building lives, and we're just getting started.
Trust is the number one reason why a patient chooses a healthcare provider. Adams Drugs has been your trusted healthcare provider since 1962 and has been voted the number one pharmacy in the River region for many years. We strive each and every day to provide you the level of healthcare you have come to expect from Adams Drugs. The employees at Adams Drugs take pride in developing relationships with their patients, from making sure your prescriptions are filled correctly to getting to know you and your family's needs and following up on any questions you may have. Adams Drugs employees deliver top-notch service. We ask you to visit us at any of our locations in Montgomery, Prattville, Wetumpka, Millbrook, and Pine Level Marbury and give us a chance to earn your business. You can find us at adamsdrugs.net for the location that is nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
At Montgomery Men's Health, we saw a bunch of patients last month. Almost none came because of an ad. They came because something happened. A fight with a wife who finally said, "Get help." A breakup. A new relationship that made them aware of things they used to ignore. A photo a friend tagged them in. One guy said he just stared at himself in the mirror, and that was enough. If today's your day, call right now. 334-440-3663. I'm Dr. Smith, urologist and advisor to Montgomery Men's Health. Built on almost 15 years of treating men in Alabama, one patient at a time. Dedicated to ED, low T, and male performance. Here's what happens when you call. We book you this week. We'll get a lab in an hour. For ED, we walk you through your real options at the same visit. A plan before you leave. Don't let today turn into next year. Call now. 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663. MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 special. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Well, hi, everybody. It's a pretty routine forecast with partial sunshine today. Very humid, high temperature in the upper 80s to near 90. And you know, those spotty, random pop-up storms here and there, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. That goes for every day this week, right on through Friday and beyond. Lows at night down to about 73. I think we'll be near or above 90 Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. This part of the program, before we go to the phones, that's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you whether you're looking to buy or sell real estate here in the River region. Bo's been working in the Montgomery and surrounding areas, helping folks out, buying and selling property, houses, land, for about half a century now. And the Goodson Group, not only can they help you buying and selling your property, but they have management services available should you want to rent out your home, which is a great idea if you're in a position to do that. But why not have the Goodson Group for a reasonable fee manage it for you? So if you want to learn more, whether you're looking to buy, sell, rent out a place, check out the Goodson Group today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com or give them a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. Let's go to Papa B. Papa B.
That's my favorite little music intro there. I guess that's going to be my new theme music.
I'd save that for you and your calls now.
Oh, thank you so much. So, one of the things that I've noticed over the years is when you're doing like a psyop, like I'm going to call it a psyop.
Mm-hmm.
The left has just gotten really, really good at it. Okay. And so what they will do is they'll follow a plan. Okay. And, it's pretty easy to outline. Let's say rules for radical. It's all linked.
Yeah.
Okay. You identify the target, paint the target, as they called it, and you isolate the target. Okay. And then that's when you really pile in and try to eliminate the target. One of the things that Trump's team, was they are doing it on purpose or not, is they kind of snatched the playbook away from the left and are using it against them now. They're using it for some good, I would say. And when it comes to groups like the SPLC, you have to do it slowly. Okay, you have to kind of. I heard something the other day that really sticks with me. Slow is fast, and fast is slow.
All right.
So if you do it right, you have to kind of introduce the American people to the idea that the SPLC ain't what it's all cracked up to be. Because you got a great many people who have thought so much of the SPLC for so very, very long that they've got to understand and get acquainted with the idea that things ain't all kosher there. There's doing things that aren't right. And so this is kind of a shot across the bow, if you will, to kind of introduce the people and let them know what's going on there. Then you can go ahead and start, showing more of what they've been doing. Okay. If you just do it all at once, well, people will probably just say, oh, he's just politically targeting them and, kind of write it off.
Yeah, it'll go to the news cycle and you're like, yeah, whatever.
You're right. In one ear and out the other. It's just not going to have the effect. But this way, it's very slow, it's very purposeful, and it's deliberate, and it's got, and then there's a tempo to it, too. Because once you do that, then, of course, naturally, they're going to beat any court case that you take it to in front of, any liberal judge, and it will be probably forced into, the courts that aren't necessarily friendly at all. So, but, then, that public perspective, factor has been realized. And then you can start doing some other things. Then you can start, pulling out some of the other things that they've done. And I think you're going to find they've been kind of a hub for all kinds of things.
Absolutely.
Including the voting irregularities. One of the things that we've seen is all of these voting irregularities, most of them, it takes so many days. Oh, my goodness. We just can't count it, Goodness gracious alive. It's just going to take, it's just too hard. So what's going on here is they have to figure out how many votes they need to win. Then they've got to go and find out how they can manufacture those votes. Then they've got to go ahead and find out how they can flip those ballots into the counting process. It takes some time. So naturally, they got to take some time to get all that figured out. Okay. Slowly but surely, the routes of being able to get ballots and get them into the boxes, all of those routes are being choked off. Okay. But it's harder, but it's still doable, especially in places like we see out at L.A.
Oh, definitely.
Local elections like that, they'll look the other way or whatever, but that's what's happened. I don't know how that's done.
I think also people have just gotten tired of the same racket and the same devils and demons that they've held up forever. Like, how many people are actually part of the Klan or part of the neo-Nazi group?
Yes, these hard to find white nationalist groups. Goodness, you'd think that they were just springing out of every hole in the ground. I mean, they're behind every tree, every bush.
Well, and what they want to say, it's the Republican Party and it's Donald Trump. But then you're like, well, then you're giving the game away. Like, come on. And by the way, in a second, it's like a 5-minute clip, but Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs got questioning, and apparently an SPLC informant had a romantic relationship with an SPLC employee. The same employee oversaw field sources. They shared a home. They held joint bank accounts, and 66% of the funds in those accounts came from the SPLC. So we have a little bit of I'm sure Netflix will make a love story out of it.
Just say it ain't so, Joe. It just that just can't be.
Man, talk about foreplay. So which Klan member did you infiltrate today?
I mean, it's just as apparent as the nose on your face. Just plain as the nose on your face. Everybody knows. Everybody sees it. Even the people that are doing the, gaslighting or whatever, they know. They see it. I don't know how these people sleep at night, with the, the really lies that they live, but apparently some people can.
Yeah, they're on the
But
right side of
anyway.
history. They believe it.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. They think that they're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
I guess the Lord's work now is to deceive people into believing something that's not really there.
Well, and, I mean, it's tolerance for, drag queens with their genitals hanging out. That's the Lord's work. He ate with the tax collectors, Papa B. Jesus did. Like, so you gotta let this man dance in front of your son. Like,
You've got to.
Right. It's
I
just,
mean, that's
it's
love
duh.
and acceptance. Come on.
Duh.
What's wrong with you?
Right.
Oh, me. What a mess we're living in right now. But, I do have hope.
Me
for
too.
The future. I mean, I guess I'm just stupidly optimistic, but, I do see some good things happening, and hopefully, and I think that's the right approach that they're taking, slow boil, turn the heat up a little bit more, turn the heat up a little bit more, make some more revelations, a little bit at a time. Slow is fast and fast is slow.
Here.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Papa B. This part of the program, in fact, the entire hour, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. At Alabama Home Mortgage, they can help you out, whether you're looking to buy a home or you're looking to refinance a home. And if you're a veteran, they specialize in the VA mortgage program. They always know the latest, and it remains one of the strongest home financing options available. Like, it really is the best deal, best game in town, offering benefits like no down payment purchases and 100% cash out refinances. So if you are a veteran and you've not taken advantage of this, or you think you can't use it, maybe you've used it once before, just get in touch with Alabama Home Mortgage. Stop leaving money on the table. And even if you're not a veteran, if you're looking for a local great company that you can trust, that can help walk you through the home buying process from pre-approval all the way to closing day, or you're looking to refinance to shore up that retirement account, or maybe reinvest your property, your family in some way, or just go on the dream vacation. Maybe you got debt off your back. Like, whatever goal, they can help you meet it there at Alabama Home Mortgage. And, a lot of folks will sit and look at the national news and look at the big trends and stuff, but that's the wrong approach. Think about your own economy, your own hearth and home, And, well, great folks to consult with are there at Alabama Home Mortgage. It's Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon there at Alabama Home Mortgage. Give them a call today at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online. They'll get in touch with you soon after at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies like Kim and Madeline. Prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Whether it's AC or heating or plumbing that you're needing, whatever you require, call Lou Choir. Since 1983, we've treated you like family. Day or night, we do things right, so you can live more comfortably. Whether it's AC or heating or plumbing, that's your call Lou Choir right now.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a prospector. That's right, man. I'm prospecting for gold. You dig? No, but it looks like you do. And you know the first thing I'm going to do when I strike it rich? What's that? I'm going to hire David Ernest to be my money man. You mean everyone's favorite asset preservationist? That is correct, man. I'm going to call him up at 833-596-7233. 833-596-SAFE. You know, I've heard a lot of the good things about David Ernest. You know, he's the best money man around with over 40 years of experience. Experience is necessary, especially when you're digging for gold. That's right, man. And I can see that you don't have very much experience. What do you mean, man? Well, you have the little plastic bucket and shovel like a kid would take to the beach. Yeah, man, well, I want to start out small and then kind of pace myself up until I strike it rich. Well, maybe you should call David Ernest first. You think he's got a shovel? Never know till you ask. I dig, man.
E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free. E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free.
At E-Bike Oasis, we're more than just Montgomery's best electric bicycle store. E-Bike Oasis offers free 1-hour electric bicycle rentals and a full-service electric bike repair shop. Stop by E-Bike Oasis in Montgomery today for free rentals, repairs, and electric bicycle brands in town.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
News happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. So apparently, some organization was able to get a secretly recorded undercover investigative report video, and it has to do with the University of Alabama. April Marie Fogel has a story there at 1890 News. Hidden camera shows University of Alabama administrator criticizing DEI law bragging of holes school exploits. And this is put out by Accuracy in Media, who's joined a growing chorus of conservatives opposed to Stuart Bell, who used to be president there at the University of Alabama, being hired as Florida University of Florida's Board of Trustees considering hiring a new president, and Stuart Bell might be the guy. A lot of folks, especially in the conservative right, saying, nope, this guy's big DEI fella. And, well, Accuracy Media put out this video, so I say we should watch some of it or listen to some of it together. Let's try it out.
Bill, I read the draft of the bill, and people were like calling me, like, this is blasphemy. I'm like, this actually is stupid because I found some holes. It's weird because, too, like, most of our faculty and staff are progressive, and it's always the ones that you least likely expect.
Mm-hmm. Under former University of Alabama President Stuart Bell, this university championed DE&I and against state law. Undercover journalists met with Shemaiah Kennan, assistant
We
director
actually
of
did like an
intercultural
event
studies there.
a long time ago before DI became a thing like, for drag queens, and so it was so dope. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
That would be so fun. Are y'all still going to be able to do that? Host drag shows and...
We probably won't, but a student board can.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how can they do it though? Because they can't afford them.
Basically, they apply for funding, and so they have it as well too. Like if you donate the funds, you can do a single donated funds.
Okay.
So there's like legal ways around it. I don't know if like our state reps were. I don't really know if they
aware of that.
Okay. Because when I read the bill, I read the draft of the bill, and people were like calling me like, "This is blasphemy." And I'm like, "This actually is stupid because I found some holes for the bill already." And it was so funny because when we met with the state legislator, like anyone could have logged on, like affiliated with UA, and they were like, "Yeah, guys, like it's ways around this. Like we can work through this." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
Everyone's biggest thing, honestly, was about LGBTQ plus students and resources and access that they can have, and how can we allow them or maintain their safety?
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest thing, honestly, from like a lot of people on the call was like, can we still do live graduation? Can we still provide these resources?
Yeah.
Like we're so fortunate, like we still can put pronouns on our name tags. Like and my email signatures, and so we just did it, and it's always been optional for our staff. But I mean, if you weren't in ICU, you want to be inclusive. So.
Right. It's natural.
Yeah. And it's weird because too, like most of our faculty and staff are progressive.
Right. So okay, well that's good. Then hopefully that would continue.
Yeah, and it's always the ones that you least likely expect to be
What does a progressive look like, ma'am?
progressive. It's so funny. Because you would look at them and you're thinking they're coming into the plane, they're like, this is bull. We need to do something about it. I'm like, wasn't expected to.
I want to ask academic freedom. Is that I don't know what the rules are here, because in Georgia it was like professors are not
They're not restricted by like divisive concepts or by.
It's like this in here,
Okay, so they're still able to talk about like.
They had a couple of trainings, like webinars on like how.
Yeah, well, I mean, I see this and I go, who do you think's in charge of the universities? Do you want the universities to change? You have to take ownership and change them. Like that was the voice of Shemaiah Kennan, assistant director of the Intercultural Center at the University of Alabama. Like, you would just shut it down and let people be mad about it. But in a way, it's very difficult to try to change the university system root and branch because of the long march of the institutions the left has done over generations. And, I'm sorry that you want that dope drag show, but maybe do it in a private club. And things people get excited about. Things that keep people from killing themselves, Anyway, sorry to end on a despairing thought, but honestly, when I see a lot of this stuff and a lot of stuff that passes for meaning and purpose and belonging and so-called community these days, I'm like, man, y'all are on a knife's edge. I mean, aren't we all to a degree, but y'all are kind of on a knife's edge. Anyway, we'll be right back after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Voters are headed to the polls today in Maine. The primary there setting the stage for both the governor's race and a pivotal Senate showdown involving Republican incumbent Susan Collins. South Carolina, crowded field is driving that state's Republican primary for governor.
families. Alabama Power is protecting their customers by making data centers pay their full costs. It makes me feel at peace. Alabama Power is really stepping up and doing what's right for customers.
Please be advised. You may want to stop eating the following foods immediately: broccoli, kale, bean sprouts, blueberries, quinoa, spinach.
Wait, what? I thought those were good for me.
Turns out, not for everyone. Because what's healthy for one person can cause inflammation for another. And the only way to really know what your body needs is to listen to it.
Listen how?
That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that looks at your body's real-time biology using RNA to understand what's happening inside you right now. When your results come in, you'll learn exactly which foods to eat, which to avoid, and which supplements are right for you, all based on the world's largest RNA-based human biology database and thousands of clinical research studies. And many people who use Viome report more energy, better digestion, and a better mood within months. So stop guessing. Start knowing. Learn more at viome.com/gut. V as in Victor, IOME.com/GUT. And use coupon code GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase. Viome. Trust your gut.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. No, I'm thinking we should just unplug the phones. Nobody calls anymore. We got a few. And I appreciate the ones who do. I think it's just a cultural thing now, though. A lot of people just want to text, want a message, like the art of conversation, just voice to voice, has gone out the window in many ways. Anyway, apparently Barry Moore now has a response to all the questions around his military service and his identity. So let's listen in. This is Congressman Barry Moore defending himself.
You may have heard rumors whipped up by my opponent about my military service. But let me set the record straight. I served over 6 years in the Alabama National Guard and the Army Reserve. I was honorably discharged as an E6. I was never in combat, and I never claimed to be. I'm proud of my service. People can attack me. I'm used to it. They've been doing it ever since I started taking on the establishment. But what I will not accept is attacking the 30,000 men and women of the Alabama National Guard and Reserves as not veterans. That's a garbage swamp tactic. The men and women of the Alabama National Guard serve honorably, and they deserve our respect. They wear our country's uniform. They're veterans, and I'm grateful for their service. Before you vote, Alabama, I simply ask that you take a look at the fact. The honor, the integrity, and the respect of those who serve should matter. I will always stand with the men and women who put on the uniform and answer the call to serve.
Yeah, we'll see what it comes down to. We only got a week from today until the runoff race. Election day is upon us. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
It's a Freebird.
Hey, Freebird. How you doing?
I want to. Barry Moore don't have nothing to worry about. He's going to win that race. But Joey, let's back up a little bit. Talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Sure.
I wonder when Marsh D's name is going to come up.
Oh, well, and what, he was kind of kicked to the curb by the new generation there in disgrace, right?
Well, yeah, I remember that. Him and his buddy too. But you know, I'm 75 years old, and I can tell you some things, but I'm not going to do it because I could probably get in some serious trouble. But I'll take a look at Morris D's. I really do.
Is there something you could characterize without getting in serious trouble? You've whet my thirst here.
Well, you know, he bankrupt. He bankrupt the Klan, they say, and then they turn around and buy them some wood and some nails to buy the crosses and the gowns and all that. You know, but Morris has been around for a long time, and they need to take a look at Morris D's and his partner. I can't think of his partner's name right off the bat, in all honesty. But I just thought I'd share that with you. I enjoy your program. I listen to it every day.
Thank you, sir. Well, and I didn't put two and two together. I said earlier, Jack Campbell quote, "Get off the cross, we need the wood." I didn't know it was a burning cross.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's there's a lot more to it, and most of it probably come out, but not all of it come out. You know.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, they're going to delay it. And maybe with this slow walk, it gives more opportunity to expose exactly what they've been up to while they're hiding behind their supposed righteousness.
Yeah. It's I tell you what, I was born and raised in Montgomery County. Well, we moved here when I was 3 years old, so I was raised up here. And I seen a lot of stuff. And looking back at it, you know, the old saying goes, education-wise, two and two is four, but I've seen some stuff that just didn't add up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, that's got to be some perspective you got there. Like, you know, I've seen Montgomery change in my lifetime. I've got 37 years under me, but the changes you've seen, it's, yeah, I guess some good, some a lot bad, though.
Yeah, it's, I tell you what, I will say this, there's a lot of things that's been done under the table that it's been very dirty and nasty. And anyway, I would like for some of it to come out, but anyway, time will tell. You take care, Joe. I'll talk with you later.
Appreciate it, Freebird. 272-9228. Again, that's 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. I think he's generally right. I think, actually, if I was just betting, not like stumping, but betting, I think Barry Moore does still win this race. If not, then, again, to just put it bluntly, then Katie Britton team have made Trump kiss their ring again. Are they going to, like, be the power behind everybody in federal office in the state other than maybe Jerry Carl? I mean, you play to win. Can't hate them for that. But it'll be a remarkable thing to see if they actually upset another yet Trump-endorsed candidate in this state. 272-9228. Again, that's 334-272-9228. Now, we've got a moment here. This has nothing to do with anything. Other than, I love this new X account from this Japanese fella named Nobunaga. He's touring the United States, and he is writing little missives about certain experiences he has as a Japanese man in the United States of America. He writes this missive 3 days ago. USA. The woman handed me my receipt and said, "Have a nice day." I froze. A command from a stranger with no time limit and no clear conditions for success. In my country, no one tells you to have a nice day. You are simply released into whatever day the heavens send. But here, this woman had issued an order kindly and looked me in the eye and meant it. I could not fail her. So I set out to have a nice day, on purpose, with everything I had. I noticed a bird and thanked it. I let 4 cars merge. I told a man his hat was excellent. It was. I drank a coffee slowly enough to actually taste it, which I had not done in 19 years. Each small good thing I added to the report I was building in my heart. For her. By dusk, I was exhausted from niceness. But I had done it. By direct order I had. A nice day. So I went back. She was still at the register. I bowed deeply. I have completed it, I told her. It was a nice day. I will remember it until the hour of my death. She blinked. Then she laughed. The real kind, and said, "Oh, you just made my day, man." I had been sent to have a nice day. I returned having given one away. So tell me, America. You say it 100 times a shift and mean it lightly. I heard it once and obeyed it with my whole life. And somehow we both ended the day a little better than we began it. Man's a genius. Genius writer of our age. Travel documentary writer of our age. I love it. Nobunaga on X. Great follow, folks. And he posts regularly. He posts pretty much every day. This one was from 2 days ago. Let me share it. I came to lift one weight. I left a legend 4 times over against my will. Now, if anybody's ever been around gym life and gym bros, this will speak to your soul. It started small, a modest weight. Then a man the size of a door walked past and roared, "Let's go, beast!" Beast. Me? Mid-lift? From a stranger? A beast does not set the weight down. So I did not set the weight down. I wanted to set the weight down. Then, get up! Get it, champ! A woman this time. A second rank, conferred in passing. I bowed mid-repetition, which is far harder than it sounds. Then, "One more, warrior, you got this." Warrior. That one I earned across an entire lifetime. He handed it to me for a single rep. I could not insult it by failing. So I did one more. Then another. Beast, champ, warrior, killer, big guy. They would not stop naming me, so I could not stop deserving it. My arms were gone. My spirit was on fire. I said nothing. A warrior does not announce that he can no longer feel his hands. I racked the bar. The whole corner of the room, strangers, all of them, clapped. For the beast. For the champ. For the warrior. The big one slapped my shoulder. "Same time tomorrow?" "Yes," I said, with great and total calm, while every muscle I own filed a formal complaint. "I will be there. A man who has been called warrior cannot, in good conscience, skip leg day." Again, this man is a poet of our time. Nobu, N-O-B-U, Naga, N-A-G-A. True legend. I look forward to more of his posts and missives as we go forward through his travels in this great country of ours. 272-9228. That's again 334-272-9228. So there's a video that was posted earlier. And I'm sure you heard that now Spencer Pratt's not in the runoff for mayor of Los Angeles, which, again, it's kind of like the university thing. Like, none of this is surprising. This is how these places work. They play to win. And I hope people start to understand that about politics. The reason the folks that you don't like, that you think are kind of crooked, perhaps they're in the positions they're in because they're kind of crooked. Not completely shot. They're just a little bit. They just got a little bit of English. But perhaps because this is actually the game they're playing. Now, of course, they never admit to the crookedness or put it in those terms. But, maybe they'll do it in private when they're drunk, but that's in like a moment of trust, and you do not break that trust. But here is a fella named Larry O'Connor, and he's going to lay out, okay, how did this really happen in California? How do they steal votes? Now, a lot of folks think it's just common sense. You just, have a single address, and you don't have to check IDs, and you can just create the ballots that you want. But let's listen in to this fella, to Larry, and see his breakdown of how the Democrats keep stealing stuff. Let's listen in together.
The real scandal coming out of California right now is quite possibly every single thing we are seeing transpire before our very eyes is 100% legal. And that's the real scandal. Just let me thumbnail it for you. Because this is the system that Kristen Welker is defending and making excuses for. And everyone else in the media. They're all seeing it, And any reasonable human being can witness this and say, well, that's ridiculous. This is ridiculous and it's outrageous. And this is how you would steal an election. But just be clear, you can steal something and not break the law. And that's what's happening here. They are stealing it without actually breaking the law. This is the election system in California as we speak. Anybody who is a registered voter gets a ballot mailed to them. And you register to vote because you walk into a DMV and you automatically get registered, no matter what. You have any interaction with the DMV, and as you know, California leads the nation in giving for giving driver's licenses and registrations to illegal immigrants, people who are in the country illegally, and they're getting commercial driver's license in California right now. And when you go through the process, they register you to vote. And there is no check for citizenship, there is no check for ID, there's no check for anything. And they'll register you to vote, and you're on the voter rolls. And by their own admission, because they have said this in lawsuits and settlements with Judicial Watch, that they have not cleaned up their voter rolls, even though federal law says you must, in years, in decades. I have not lived in Los Angeles County since 2012. So I'm now in my 15th year outside of Los Angeles County, and I still get emails from the LA County registrars letting me know that my ballot has been mailed to me. I don't know who's got it. Whatever address I used to live in has the Lawrence O'Connor ballot, and I'd love to know if I voted. I probably have, without anyone knowing it. Not only does every single person get a live legal ballot mailed to them, regardless of whether they should be getting one or not, but in California, individuals can go and collect ballots from anyone. They can go and knock on the doors and say, hey, give me your ballot. I'll take care of it for you legally. And those people who knock on your door and collect your ballot, they call it ballot harvesting. They can work for political entities. They can work for political action committees. They can go and they can pick and choose what ballots they want to collect, and they bring them in or they don't. And every mail-in ballot, there is no ID required for every single mail-in or drop box ballot. All you've got to do is sign the ballot. But, of course, it would be discriminatory to allow somebody who is illiterate and can't write their name to not vote. So when you sign your ballot, you can just make a mark. You can make a smiley face if you want. But it's witnessed. Don't worry, there's a little box for a witness to sign. But, of course, there's no name associated with a witness. It's just a signature. And, oh, by the way, when those ballots are collected, the witness signature isn't checked. They just check that there is a signature for a witness. So, of course, there's nothing keeping people from making a little mark on the signature for the voter, and then that same person squiggling the witness box, putting it in an envelope, and then having those votes come in. Oh, what else are they doing in California? Well, they allow ballots that come in as late as a week after Election Day to be counted. Yep. That doesn't seem right. Oh, it's okay. The ballot had to be mailed or put into a drop box or delivered by Election Day. But, of course, if it's not postmarked, they'll overlook that. If there's no postmark at all on the envelope, they'll just look at whatever date you put on it, and they'll trust you. And then they'll count the ballots. And if you live in a tent in your own waste on Skid Row because you're a criminal vagrant, you can all give the same address of a porta potty. And no one will question it, and no one will challenge it. And every single thing I just described for you is accurate and legal.
Yep.
They're not breaking the law. They're following the laws that they have written so that they can get away with this garbage. And everyone knows it. And frankly, if you look at that system and you just assume that everything is done on the up and up, frankly, that's a you problem. Not a me problem, but I will no longer apologize and make excuses for myself for just assuming that the Democrats are stealing an election right before our eyes in California. Legally, but stealing nonetheless.
No, it's a good presentation. And yeah, it's like I said. What do you think? This is We're all going by the honor code here? No. These places are designed this way. The rules are set up this way. I say it all the time before elections, long before you get a vote. There are many decisions made by all sorts of different players. Decisions much bigger than voting for this guy or the other guy or for that lady or that gentleman. Voting is the name of the game. It is the tally that we count at the end. But then sometimes the votes just get papered over, literally. But it happens in so many elections. Yeah, I think it's a great argument of why you shouldn't have your society run by politics, dominated by politics. But that is American society, for better or for worse. And how are we doing in that regard? How are we doing? And I'm also looking up on the TV. Apparently, the jury has reached a verdict in the Metcalf, Texas stabbing trial. This is in McKinney, Texas, right outside the Collin County Courthouse. And there's not too many people, but there's enough folks raising some hell and saying they're going to be very upset if the verdict goes one way or the other. And it just breaks my heart. Because the young man's dead. Real dead. And then your life doesn't become just about you and your life. It becomes this symbol to be batted about by the masses as they blindly grope for justice. We'll see. I haven't been following this trial closely, and I have a general rule that if I'm not sitting there in the jury box, my opinion's bunk. As is everybody else's opinion who's outside the courthouse, or maybe you watched every moment of this, but you're not on the jury. So who cares what you think? But now it looks like they got all sorts of officers there setting up a perimeter. Oh, Lord. And I'm not seeing the final declaration, just seeing the bottom chyron on Fox News saying jury reaches verdict in Texas stabbing trial. But not seeing the actual verdict just yet. Maybe they're delaying it on purpose. Keep people waiting. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and their Pest Pro, Ashley, and that great team are ready to help you out with any and all of your pest control needs. And it could be, you got a issue of like, hey, I don't have a pest control company that I trust. Well, consider Pest Pro Services. They're a great success story, and that's a great mark of a business. That they're growing. More and more people are talking about them. More and more folks are using them. Like they started with a few folks. Now they got dozens of folks. They got a new headquarters in Millbrook. They got new trucks with a beautiful wrap around it with that Pest Pro logo. And they can get out there and often fix the issue without even having to go inside. And then, of course, not only do they offer a monthly subscription for basic pest control, you can add on top of that things like mosquito protection. So if you actually want to enjoy your property, enjoy the backyard, enjoy the pool, enjoy the front porch, without getting all those nasty welts and all this, mosquitoes are disgusting. Well, Pest Pro Services can take care of them. They do a beautiful job. And of course, they can also help you with year-round termite services or any other acute problem. Maybe you just really have a big fire ant problem and you're worried about the little kids or the dogs or something getting into that network. Again, Pest Pro Services is the place to get in touch with. Now, you can always go to ppsriverregion.com to learn more, or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces or call them direct at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. And be sure to tell Ashley, fantastic team, that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. Anyway, we'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. 5 reasons to get a home inspection before you close on a home. Homeowners buying their first home or their 10th home still need a home inspection performed. First, you will find out firsthand the true condition of the home, the age and state of the heating and air, the roof, electrical, and plumbing as of the date of inspection. Second, it may give you the ability to renegotiate repairs that the seller will end up paying for before closing. Third, if the results show that the repairs would be too costly, then you can opt out of the contract without losing your earnest money. Fourth, the age and state of the systems will indicate what shape the rest of the house might be in and give you the option to opt out of the transaction or renegotiate terms. Fifth, knowing what needs to be done to the house will allow you the opportunity to update the home properly to your taste. For a list of the best home inspectors in the area, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 334-221-2883 or 551-0225. The Goodson Group.
Starting a business shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Janney Pine Gulf Coast, we give you a clear, proven path to ownership. You receive guaranteed initial accounts, local support, and the training you need to succeed from day one. For over 35 years, we've helped people turn steady careers into thriving businesses, and you could be next. Start your journey today at JaneyKingCleans.com.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
I'm Bradley Ehrlichtal, and I'm asking for your vote June 16th for Circuit Judge Place 5 at Auga, Chilton, and Elmore counties. I'm a 20-year veteran of the trial courtrooms of Alabama. I've served you as an assistant district attorney, I've served you as the municipal prosecutor for the city of Prattville, and I've continued to serve you as the municipal judge of Millbrook. I've defended the most difficult and serious cases before judge and jury. I've been serving this community for 20 years. Vote Bradley Ehrlichtal, June 16th.
Paid for by the committee to elect Bradley Ehrlichtal, 131 Hunts Alley, Prattville, Alabama, 36067.
Hey Biscuits fans, it's Luke Maley here, and Tuesdays just got a whole lot better. Come on out to Davos Park for Tacos and Tall Boys Tuesdays. That's $4 tacos and $4 select Tall Boys, all while watching the Biscuits take on their Southern League opponents. It's the perfect way to spice up your week and enjoy some great baseball. For tickets and info, visit biscuitsbaseball.com or call 323-BALL.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Well, hi, everybody. It's a pretty routine forecast with partial sunshine today. Very humid, high temperature in the upper 80s to near 90. And you know, those spotty, random pop-up storms here and there, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. That goes for every day this week, right on through Friday and beyond. Lows at night down to about 73. I think we'll be near or above 90 Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Big dreams for your home on a tight budget? AFE's $26.26 as you covered. Unlock your home's equity with just $26 in closing costs. No fees, no headaches. Visit your local ASE branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 420259.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Well, folks, it looks like the conviction is in. Anthony convicted of murder in Texas stabbing trial. That's really all I have on that, by the way. That's just the news. Convicted of murder in Texas stabbing trial. A jury of his peers found him guilty. And I honestly, I'll admit, have not been following the ins and outs of that case because it struck me as one of those cases that, yeah, people are reading too much symbolism into a violent event. Kind of a shame. But I think it took the jury only about 10 hours. Or excuse me, 3 hours on 10 counts. 3 hours on 10 counts. Carmelo Anthony now faces up to life in prison. Some folks saying prepare for riots. Okay. Again, there's all sorts of scenes outside the courthouse, people yelling and screaming their heads off at one another. But first-degree murder. And that's pretty quick for a jury to come back with that conviction. Matt Walsh out there saying, keep in mind literally all of the people who say Carmelo Anthony had the right to stab a kid to death for telling him to leave a tent. Also said that Rittenhouse did not have the right to use lethal force against an armed mob chasing him down the street to kill him. Right. But by the way, I didn't follow the Rittenhouse thing as closely as a lot of people did. Supporter outside the courthouse saying he was not an aggressor. Carmelo was not an aggressor. He was minding his damn business when them boys came up to him. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this affects things going forward. But that is the news. Carmelo Anthony has been found guilty in Texas for the murder of Austin Metcalf and faces life in prison. Look at it, live scenes just all happening in real time. You know, from like in the midst of the crowd, it looks big, but actually from the helicopter shots, it's not that many people. We'll see if that grows by the day. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey. Sam from Pike County.
Hey, Sam. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm having snap steak leftovers. Finally, after 2 months, got my snap turned back on, so we're had steak, Joey.
Snap steak. All right. What kind of cut of steak you get?
No, it was a couple of ribeyes. I got good meat, and thick enough that I was able to bake them. But all right, so I'm in the kitchen fiddling around, and I listen to your show, and this whole thing with Carmelo, it is tragic, and we do. You hurt to see it, but I believe the murder one charge that they've hung on him. I think he showed up there. Just the actions and what have happened to him, being in the wrong place and provoking an altercation, and I think he went there to kill somebody. It's just that sad that it happened. And it's we're Americans. We go to a track meet. We believe in fair play. That's why we love sports. There are rules and and it just that. How do you prepare for something like that? I guess all you do is talk to your kids, but That was my feelings on that, man. It just wasn't fair, and it's tragic. And now you got a bunch of idiots in the street. Woo! I support murder. Well, all right, man. All right, baby. All right. Okay, enough of that. The steak was really good, Joey. I think it was. I hadn't got that done one up right in a while. It just, life is good. All right, that's all I got, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you have a good day.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think this might grow into something bigger, but right now I look at this, and this is media making something more of this. I mean, there are certain people raising hell and doing the say his name chant stuff outside the courthouse, but we'll see. 272-9228 is really the hill you want to die on. No pun intended. 272-9228. Now let's go to something else a little lighter. And this might seem insensitive and ridiculous, but fair enough. But Glenn Reynolds, who wrote for the Washington Post for years, I think, or USA Today or something like that. Anyway, he's got an op-ed out called The Deeper Agenda Behind Trump's Reflecting Pool Glow-Up. Yeah, I'd rather talk about the reflecting pool glow-up than this court case. Glenn Reynolds writes, Washington, D.C.'s newly refurbished Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool isn't just reflecting the monuments at either end. It's mirroring President Trump's surprisingly sophisticated campaign to restore nothing less than America's soul. For years, the reflecting pool was an unsightly green algae-plagued mess due to an Obama-era effort to make it more environmentally friendly. As the Washington Post reported in 2012, algae were already blooming in it a week after its reopening. This is a direct consequence of the fact that this is a green project, a National Park Service spokesperson said at the time. The conditions are pretty good for algae once it gets in there. And it did, despite efforts to eradicate it. The Obama redo also leaked a lot, and it smelled bad. Green project indeed. Developer Trump took note of the pool part of the reflecting pool, and instead of calling it in high-priced ecology experts, he called in pool guys. They lined the leaky basin with a compound used to seal, pools. Tinted blue for color and added a system to treat the water swimming pool style. Now the Lincoln Memorial and Washington Monument frame a lovely body of clear, clean water that doesn't stink like a swamp. And that's just one part of Trump's ongoing Making the District of Columbia Safe and Beautiful program, which has been methodically cleaning and repairing ornamental fountains throughout D.C., some of which have been inoperative for decades. The formerly graffiti-covered and trash-filled Columbus Plaza fountain outside Union Station is now gleaming and functioning, as are fountains in Lafayette Park, Meridian Hill Park, and more. Well, Trump is a developer, and he likes things pretty, but there's more to it than that. By beautifying America's capital city, Trump wants to encourage us to be proud of America itself. I want to be proud of drag shows, or I want to be proud of my race, or whatever. By beautifying America's capital, again, America is saying, or Trump is saying, America needs to be proud of itself, and that nowadays is a political project. Making Americans proud of America used to be something that united the entire political establishment. Civic education, national pride, and historical commemoration were bipartisan efforts through the 1976 bicentennial and well beyond. But that's in the past now. More recently, we've seen the removal or neglect of monuments, the decay of civic infrastructure, and the replacement of traditionally uplifting neoclassical civic architecture with ugly modern buildings. This wasn't an accident. Brutalism, quote unquote, as a dominant architectural style was a choice. Gone were soaring columns, noble statuary depicting American heroes or abstract figures like justice or liberty, and welcoming spaces. Instead, we got modern architecture, which, as Tom Wolfe notes in his delightful book From Bauhaus to Our House, was quite literally designed to promote socialism. Yeah, it was. Modern architects blame bourgeois values for the horrors of World War II and wanted to promote socialist values instead. They disdain bourgeois adornment and designed buildings to dwarf individuals, not uplift them. As scholar James Scott points out, the French architect Le Corbusier something like that. Noted for his huge buildings and amid vast sterile plazas, dedicated his book, The Radiant City, thus to authority. But even the most socialist-minded modern architects at least wanted their works kept clean and functional. The decline in maintenance, and for that matter in public order, which Trump has also worked to fix, has had the effect, if not the deliberate purpose, of demoralizing American citizens. If public spaces are dirty and dangerous, it's hard for people to build aspirations or to feel empowered. And of course, the more accustomed we are to dirty and broken public spaces, the easier it is to divert maintenance money to graft. Although even leftist regimes know how to improve things when they want to. Remember Governor Gavin Newsom's rapid cleanup of San Francisco ahead of the visit by Chinese overlord Xi Jinping? By reversing this decay, Trump is doing several things at once. First, he's making it clear that decline is a choice. Blue cities aren't pits because of inescapable social forces. They're pits because the people in charge of them want them that way. If you want to fix blue city chaos and decay, you can, and he does. Second, he's telling Americans that America is something to be proud of by making its capital city something to be proud of. Instead of removing the symbols of our national identity and heritage or letting them decline into sad shells of themselves, he's restoring them. Our history and our identity as a nation, he's saying, are something to celebrate. And lastly, of course, he's doing his usual jujitsu on the left. Trump makes things nice. Leftists reflexively complain about it. And more voters are likely to be impressed with the improvements than with those who do nothing but moan about them. He knows that, and the leftists can't help but take the bait. So what does the reflecting pool reflect now? The face of an America that's changing for the better. Again, that's Glenn Reynolds. I think he wrote for USA Today a long time, founder of the Instapundit blog. And we're getting more helicopter images from Fox News outside the courthouse there in Collin County, McKinney, Texas. Carmelo Anthony, convicted of murder and Texas stabbing. Really not a lot of people out there. At least from the helicopter shot. Anyway, got to hit this break. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And whether you're looking for custom design work, which I highly suggest, I am a client of Josh the Jeweler, and he does just magnificent work, and he's very easy to work with, even when you're being particular, and you should be if you really want to get something right. But he can give you all sorts of options and ideas to make, well, your dream custom jewelry project come to life. Could be you inherited maybe two different pieces of jewelry, and it's sort of out of style, out of date, but you want to keep it. Well, it's a keepsake. There's a little extra something to that, well, those pieces that you inherited. And so why not combine them into something that you can wear all the time and continue to remind you of that loved one, say, you lost, or that loved one you inherited that from? Or it could be you just want something fun, something new, something interesting that expresses who you are. I think it's better than a tattoo. Go get some custom-made jewelry. And then, of course, they also have a great inventory from high-end to everyday jewelry items. You can look stunning, no matter your budget. They could also do spa treatments. So maybe there's jewelry, rings, earrings, necklace, all sorts of stuff, bracelets that you wear all the time. And it looks like you wear them all the time. You've been wearing them all the time every day for years. Well, what if they could shine and shimmer like they're brand new again? They can do that for you there with a spa treatment at Dillon Rings. And, of course, repair work, battery replacement on watches. They do it all is the point. So check out Dillon Rings today. Just stop by. 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, I'm Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop Wellness Center at 8161 Vaughan Road. You know, with over 30 years experience in natural wellness, I've seen countless health fads come and go. A few years ago, we added a patented technology that actually activates your stem cells. It reverses the aging process at the cellular level. However, you do need proper hydration and targeted nutrition. At the Herb Shop, our advanced scanning and testing technology allows us to accurately assess your nutritional needs and get a customized plan for you. Come in today and see what the Herb Shop can do for you.
This is Alice of Independent Glass. We advertise with Blue Water Broadcasting, and we get great results. If you want results like we get, you need to go with Blue Water.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks, helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM. WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles with Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Oh, I'm all right. There's nobody else in here unless I'm mistaken.
Well, I've been trapped in the store all day, so I hadn't had the pleasure of listening to you. So I have no clue to what we're talking about today.
Neither do I. It's just good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear your voice. So Emma Ruth's on her way up here. That's my middle child that lives in a over in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Yeah.
Jay was on. He went off for drill, I believe, for a week, and she's like, "Hey, I'm coming home." But now she's wanting us to do a TikTok.
Oh no!
I'm like, Emma, everybody in here is over 50 years old. We don't know how to do this. She's like, I got you. But she's actually going to make Dad do it.
Well, I guess you're going to humor her, and I guess that's what dads do.
I can't tell this child no for nothing.
Around her
she has she's got my grandbaby with her. How do I say no to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Angie's like, I'm the only woman that's supposed to be getting spoiled in this house. And I said, I know, but look at that little thing.
No, it's a pretty good way to be trapped, I have to say.
It is. It's a great way to be trapped. But look for us on TikTok, because apparently Emma's going to try to get us on TikTok.
Are they going to make you dance?
I don't know. I have no idea. I just go along with the flow on these things. I don't really have time for it, but we'll do it. But we do have incredible sales going on in the store. This vinyl plank that's on sale for $5.50 a foot is hard to explain. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's super thick. It's super hard to scratch, and you're not going to beat the price. So if you're out and about, stop by the store, look at it. We'll come out and give you a free measurement, and then next thing you know, you got a floor down. Just that simple.
Really is just that simple, folks. Just call them up today, 285-8117, or you can always stop by the store, right?
Absolutely. We're here all day long from 7 in the morning, 5:30 at night.
And that's 2201 Cobbsford Road right there on, well, if you don't know where Cobbsford Road is, what's wrong with you?
Exactly. So, well, I've got a customer walking in, so y'all have a great day.
You too. Appreciate you, Ray. Again, when you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey Clark fella. So, see, Iran shot down a helicopter? Yeah, but the pilots are fine, thank God. Yeah, you get some lucky shots in, and also helicopters, you know. You'd like to think they can't fall from the sky, but they tend to, more so than planes. But, maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's just my sense that a chopper is a little more dangerous than a regular aeroplane. So today we've learned about, deciding how to vote. Like, how do you decide between Barry Moore and Jared Hudson? How do you decide between Catherine Robertson and Jay Mitchell, Wes Allen and John Wall? How do you decide between these folks? Well, I mean, there's always the issues. Or it could be just like how that guy talks, how that lady carries herself. Could be it comes down to just hard-boiled politics, like you start putting two to two together of who's backing whom. Who is a powerful person or many powerful players and networks of relationships and interests that are backing particular people. Now, a lot of people like to put this in this shadowy, conspiratorial term. No. I'm just looking at this clear-eyed. And, I think the most powerful people sometimes need to lose a few. They tend not to because they're very good at what they do. But, I think they can't get everything they want. That's just... it'll probably be all right, even if it works out that way. Of course, Spencer Pratt, he's not going to be in the runoff because, they cheat legally out there in California. They steal it fair and square once again because that's how this stuff works, folks. It's exactly how this stuff works. We learned about the SPLC and how this is going to be probably a case that goes on for years and years and years. From both, for reasons of the prosecutors and the defense team. I mean, the defense team is trying to delay. Hopefully a Democrat will get reelected, get a Democrat AG, and, well, we're back to the races without any indictment or any prosecution hanging over our heads. But then on the prosecutorial side, I think what you're going to see with the SPLC is folks finding new facts and bringing new indictments that they're continuing to dig, not just an organization being indicted, but individuals within that organization. And today, of course, Congress had the president of the SPLC, Mr. Fair, which sometimes the name is destiny. And I don't think Mr. Fair fared too well. I mean, he was bound to get beat up a bit up there because what they're doing doesn't look great. And the superseding indictment only adds to the fact of how much they were paying groups like the KKK. Like, pretty insane stuff. But then I think my favorite thing of the day, maybe it's not yours, but it is mine, is this Japanese gentleman on X, Nobunaga. Look him up. Nobunaga. He's truly a poet of our age. And he has these little missives. I don't even know if it's real. I don't care. They're just that well done and put a smile on my face. Because there's a lot of stuff in everyday American life that you take for granted. When somebody tells you, hey, have a nice day, we take for granted that we dip everything at Ranch. We take for granted the support and camaraderie that you get at the gym, where folks like, you can do it, boss, you can do it, beast, you're a warrior, get out there. Sometimes that motivational stuff is counterproductive to me. It's like, please shut up and let me just focus. I've got enough motivation as is that you call me champ. So I don't have anything else, honestly. I could keep trying to fill time, but I'll just be blunt. My heart and mind are, looking forward to this afternoon. Be lost in prayer some more. And especially as you see the potential for riots after a case that seemed pretty cut and dry. You stab somebody in the heart. You just look at all the different distractions and things that can pull you down in this world. Yeah, the news is the news. And it's clearly the dog days of summer. So anyway, oh, look, a call. Let's see who this is. You're on there, who's this?
Hey, this is Sam. Could you spell the Nobu's, could you spell that, please?
Nobu.
Nobu, yes, sir.
Naga.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. He's fantastic.
You got another good show in the can. Oh yeah, have a good day.
You too.
Absolutely.
Enjoy that steak.
That's right. I did. You did. Thank you, Joey. Thank you a lot, brother.
Later, man. And yeah, Greg is next, so y'all stay tuned. Happy hour with Greg Riedel, and I'm not sure who's with him today, but somebody hopefully is. They're next.
From the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1